Typology and the Gospels. That is Josephus, the historian Josephus that you see behind me. And I'm glad that I see all of you before me. We got a great show planned for you tonight. It's a fun show, it's an exciting show. Maybe not as fun as the little show that I did this afternoon. And evidently, I got a few people a little upset because I guess if you're a single mother, you're allowed to lie, cheat, steal, and do all kinds of bad things just because you're a single mother. But oh well, I don't see it that way. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you. Typology, a lot of you don't even know what it is, especially you Christians, but we will tell you what typology is, and we will talk about the Gospels and why it is important, why it is interesting. Because, folks, we have been lied to, we have been sold a bill of goods, we've been sold a pig and a poke, and we've been poked like a pig without even a kiss. And, ladies and gentlemen, I like to be kissed first. I don't know about you. But we got some great stuff to talk about tonight. Tragic occurrence, though, when I was getting ready for the show, my master band broke. My Mistake master band broke. So I'm minus my master band. So I hope I'm not off my game too much tonight. But you can go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the Mistake logo, and get your Mistake and get yourself going. It'll make a difference in your life. It puts your cells into harmony. And when you get your cells in harmony, man, there's no telling what you can do. What is typology? I think the best description of typology that I've ever heard, and if you were watching the last show with Joseph Atwell, author of Caesar's Messiah, which I just happen to have right beside me, Caesar's Messiah, he said this, and I thought it was brilliant. It is a great analogy of what typology is. Typology is a story based on another story. Now, we know that some of you are visual learners. So, what we're going to do, I've prepared, see, I'm always in service to you, ladies and gentlemen. And have prepared a special, what is this? It's a special visual for those of you that are visual learners to learn what typology is. It's a story based on another story. For example, if you're trying to make a typological comparison or story between Joseph and Jesus, then you would do it like this. In the Old Testament, you got Joseph going to Egypt. In the New Testament, you got Joseph, the dad, going to Egypt with Mary after he knocked her up, allegedly. And then you got Pharaoh massacring boys. You got Herod massacring boys. In Exodus, they were told all the men that seek the child's life are dead. In Matthew, they're told all that seeks a child's life are dead. They escape from Egypt back to Israel. In Matthew, they escape from Egypt back to Israel. They pass through the waters of baptism, of course, the Red Sea. Jesus gets baptized. They are tempted by bread in the wilderness. Did you bring us out here to eat? We got nothing to eat. And then Jesus was tempted, make these stones into bread. In Exodus, it's written, don't tempt the Lord your God. In Matthew, you have the character Jesus saying, don't tempt the Lord your God. In Exodus, you have worship God only and him only serve. And then in Matthew, you've got the character Jesus saying the same words. That is a beautiful illustration. And it's like live action because you can see I'm really reading the book. And this tells you a few things about me. It tells you I'm probably a little bit anal retentive. It tells you I'm probably a little bit fastidious because look at how straight those lines are, ladies and gentlemen, with the highlighter. Almost covering all the word the whole time, not going too far to the left, not going too far to the right, but look at that. Very, very nice and neat and tidy. Probably says something, and it probably says something that is not overly flattering. I can feel right now in my spidey senses that in the chat room, Tracy Dyer is preparing a barb for me based upon that handy visual that I just shared with you folks. I might be wrong, but something tells me that I'm right. And that is what typology is. And the gospels that you grew up thinking were the real thing, that some of you have grown up basing your salvation on, that some of you silly rascals still base your salvation on, were nothing but a typological story, ladies and gentlemen. They're parallel scenes that create another storyline other than the one that appears on the surface. It looks like in the New Testament that we're talking about this dude named Jesus and his exploits, but we're really not. And you have to be someone that thinks on your own. You have to be someone that's divine, someone that's sovereign. Boy, this is really hot. And someone that's free to be able to decipher this and know what the Gospels really mean, ladies and gentlemen. But let me share this with you. The discovery of the Flavian invention of Christianity, the Flavian dictators, the Flavian emperors created Christianity. When you see that, when you know that, when you understand that, there's a completely new understanding of the first century. And then we're doing some study about history on another series that we're doing. So we're really getting our eyes opened. We're really beginning to see that things are not what we've been told. And we're beginning to see that they lie to us about lying to us. And that is certainly a sombering rendition. I would have said sobering, but I know some of you aren't real big on sobriety. And I've heard that sobriety is overrated, but I can't drink. So there you go. Think about these points. It'll help you. It'll help you get over the cognitive dissonance. It'll help you get over the obliteration of your paradigms being smashed to literal smithereens. And that's very, very small, ladies and gentlemen. Christianity did not originate with the lower classes of individuals in Judea, as you've been taught. It was actually created by the imperial royal family of Rome, the Flavians. The Gospels were not written by the followers of a Jewish Messiah, but by the intellectual circle surrounding the three Flavian emperors, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian. And no Flavor Flav was not one of the Flavian emperors, my Christian friends. The Flavian emperors were the emperors that took over from the Julian emperors, of whom Nero was the last, and Vespasian was the first Flavian emperor. So no, Christians, Flava Flav was not one of the Flavian emperors. And the Gospels, folks, were written after the war between Rome and the Jews. So they were written, the Gospels were written sometime after 70 AD. But Jeff, you've told us that James and the boys were writing starting in 47 AD. Well, what happened was the Rome wrote the Gospels and backdated them, those sneaky bitches. But when you're in charge of history, you can be a sneaky bitch. And when you work for those that are in charge of history, you can be a sneaky bitch. And you don't have to be a girl to be a bitch. Don't get offended, ladies. Boys are bitches too. Trust me. In fact, a lot of boys are bigger bitches than girls. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a fact. And those that work for them are bitches. But those of us that are trying to give you the true account of history, they're trying to give you the true account of the Gospels, we're the bitches giving bitches stitches. That's what we do, ladies and gentlemen. And the Gospels, which were written after the destruction of Jerusalem, the events in the Gospels, the events in the so-called ministry of the character Jesus are satirical depictions of events from that war. You've heard Joe Atwell talk about it, and you'll hear us talk about it in the coming days and weeks. The purpose of Christianity, folks, from the original Roman perspective, was supersession. That means it puts something down and replaces it with another. It was designed to replace that nationalistic, that militaristic, messianic movement in Judea with a religion that was pacifist. That didn't mean it's from the Pacific, Christians. That meant that they didn't want to fight and that they would accept Roman rule. Like Paul wrote, accept the leaders that are placed over you, for they are the servants of God. Paul was writing, you guessed, about Rome, ladies and gentlemen. Understanding, and this is a great quote from Joseph Atwill, and this is really what's helping take our work to a deeper level. When you understand, says Joseph Atwill, that Christianity was a government project, it gives you a completely new understanding of your government. And when we are sitting here going through the fiasco of a bloodless coup, so far bloodless, thankfully, coup here in the United States, knowing that Christianity was a government project, knowing that Christianity is a government project, gives us a new understanding of what our government is, what our government does, and how pervasive it is into every single aspects of our life. And it should be very sombering to us, because again, I know some of you think that sobriety is overrated, but basically individuals that worked for Titus Flavius, the second of those three Flavian emperors, created Christianity. And again, they did it to replace the Jewish messianism that was constantly waging war against Rome with a version of Judaism / a new thing that would be obedient to Rome. And one of the individuals that was involved in the writing of this new religion was the dude behind me, Titus Flavius. And according to himself, at least, he really lived a fabuloso life. I mean, this guy was really, really something. He was born in 37 AD into the Jewish royal family called the Maccabees. He was a child prodigy who astounded elders with his knowledge of the law, just like the Jesus character. And Josephus was at one time a member of all three of the Jewish sects, the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Essenes, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I know that some of you love the Essenes, and some of you have been taught a lot of bad doctrines about the Essenes. Some of you have been taught the Essenes were purer than the driven snow. I happen to believe, and from all objective empirical evidence, there probably wasn't any Essenes. They were probably made up. And if they did survive, they were a very small, even more radical, if they were real, they were a very small, even more radical sect than the Sadducees and Pharisees. And we know what the Jesus character said about the Sadducees and the Pharisees. He said, beware the doctrines of the Sadducees and the Pharisees. But the Essenes were of the Pharisees, the Essenes were of the Sadducees, and so many of these silly Christian-like teachers want to talk about how great the Essenes were. They want to tell you that they love the Jesus character, they support the Jesus character, and yet they want to pretend that he didn't die as a human sacrifice, that his religion isn't blood-based, and they want to pretend that they can embrace the Essenes when the Jesus character said they have nothing to do with the doctrine of the Essenes. You see, I know that I take a lot of crap, and I'm a big boy. I know that I take a lot of garbage, a lot of criticism, because I'm the only one, well, not the only one, but one of the only ones that has the testicular intestinal fortitude to tell you that the Essenes weren't real, and that if they were of the Sadducees and Pharisees, and you were told not to believe them, but you do anyway. It's much easier to let you snuggle up to the Essenes and pat you on your head and try to talk about something else that you might listen to. The hell with that. I'm coming at you large and in charge, wall to wall, treetop tall, bringing truth to you with a bulldozer. I'm like a bull in a china cabinet, ladies and gentlemen, or a bull in a china shop. And please don't tell me that they're really careful. I'm not careful, and that's no bull. We are coming with a wrecking ball on Christianity. We're coming with a wrecking ball on this people that say that they're not Christians but are. We don't want to be nice. We don't want to be sweet. We don't want to play fair. It's been 2,000 years of their BS, and it's time for us to blow this bitch up. I don't mean with bombs. I mean with bombs of truth and bombs of revelation and bombs of unindoctrination. I'm in the unindoctrinating business, cousins, and that business, boom, it's a booming right here and right now. Now, the fact that Josephus was affiliated with the Essenes, if they were real, would show you why there's some Essene-esque sayings in some of the words of the Jesus character. So that was Josephus before. Then he became the leader of the army of Galilee during the war against Rome, one of the authors of your New Testament, folks. And Josephus was captured in battle. And he decided after he got captured in battle that he was a prophet. And while he was waiting to face Vespasian, for Vespasian to pronounce his death, he received a prophecy, ladies and gentlemen, that God had switched his loyalties from the Jews to the Romans, and that the Jewish messianic prophecy was not about a Messiah, but it was about the Emperor Vespasian becoming the Lord of all mankind. So, wow, Josephus had quite a conversion. Wow, Josephus had quite a prophecy. And of course, Vespasian liked what he heard, and Vespasian adopted him. The guy that wrote most of the New Testament, the guy that, even if you don't believe, wrote the New Testament, is most quoted of any historian and whose work is indispensable to the writing of the New Testament, was a turncoat traitor. And now you know why he was called Flavius Josephus. And how much did Vespasian trust Josephus? Well, when Vespasian got called back to Rome to take over the throne, to become emperor, he left Josephus there with his son Titus to complete the destruction of Jerusalem. And after the war, they brought Josephus back to Jerusalem. And that's where he wrote The Wars of the Jews, and he wrote his other great, or his well-renowned book called Antiquities. Now, you don't have to believe me. If you do any study of the Bible at all, I know that I have to probably have 3 shows or 3 hours each to tell Christians what Bible study means, because they think it means show up in church, listen to a guy talk about something, write down what he says. Don't even write down what he says, but listen and say, okay, I agree. That's not Bible study. If you actually look at people that dig into language, if you actually read books about people taking apart language, Josephus' histories to Bible scholars, and that's kind of an oxymoron, but to the people that study the Bible, Josephus' histories are indispensable to Christianity. In fact, there wouldn't be Christianity without Josephus, literally in the real world, because he wrote the Gospels. But even if you don't believe that he wrote the Gospels, even if you are a follower of guys that wear dresses or guys that wear beanies, you think that the Christianity that you think is real, Josephus is indispensable to that. It couldn't have been without Josephus. He provides the only context for the dating of any of the events in the New Testament. Eusebius, the church father Eusebius, said that Josephus alone provides historical corroboration of Jesus, and almost single-handedly shows Jesus was a prophet. And Eusebius said that if anyone compares the words of our Savior, that's the Jesus character, with the accounts of the historian Josephus concerning the whole war, how can they fail to wonder and admit that the foreknowledge of the prophecy of our Savior was truly divine and marvelously strange, which is a marvelously strange statement. And it was Eusebius that was referring to the statement by Josephus that Jerusalem was encircled by a wall, and then Jesus said that Rome or Jerusalem would be encircled by a wall in Luke 19:37 through 44. And it was. So the thing that makes Jesus a prophet is Josephus. Without Josephus and his works, Jesus isn't a prophet. So whether you believe me now or believe me not now, Josephus is central to the New Testament either way. Jesus and Josephus both called this surrounding of Jerusalem with a wall the visiting of the Son of Man. The Jesus character said that in Luke 19:37-44, and Josephus reported in the Wars of the Jews that all of the precise details predicted by Jesus did come true. Let me ask you a question. What's the easiest way to make sure that you write prophecy that becomes 100% true? Write it after the things that you're predicting. Then you know you get it right 100% of the time. And that's exactly what Josephus did. And when you were Romans, when you were Flavians, and you had just taken over, guess what? It was easy to rewrite history, because whose history written by? The winners. And who were the Flavians? The winners. They were the champions, my friends. And they have kept on writing until the end. I won't go any further with that. I'll spare you. But the word the Son of Man is interesting because it was a title used by Daniel for the Messiah. And the Messiah, how would it feel to be a Messiah? It'd probably feel really great to be a Messiah. I don't think I'll ever be a Messiah, but I do feel really great when I am sitting in the fluffy environment, the focused life force environment. Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the FLFE logo. They will beam into your area a more nurturing environment. It allows you to function with greater functionality. It allows you to function at a higher spiritual level, at a higher physical level, at a higher emotional level, at a higher mental level. It's 15 days free on your phone, 15 days free on your home. You do not have to list a credit card. So why wouldn't you try it? Why wouldn't you try it? Go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on the fluffy logo, and it'll take you to a nice new landing page. You can start your 15-day trial. And if you do take the service, they allow you to give it for free to pay it forward to another place of that you want to donate it to. So it's really a 2-for-1. It's now you can't donate it to your I guess you could donate it to your second house, but anyway, it's a 2-for-1. And now there's actually a new service that helps the uptake and processing of the nutrients in your food, which is really, really amazing stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, Josephus wrote about the Son of Man. The Jesus character wrote about the Son of Man. And the question that we have to ask and the question that we have to answer, ladies and gentlemen, is what is and who is the Son of Man? I want to show you some interesting things about the Son of Man. Is Joe King in the chat room tonight? I know that he was earlier, because it's interesting when the Jesus character talks about the Son of Man, he sounds just like Joe King. When Jesus talked about the Son of Man, he always talked about the Son of Man in third person. And right on cue, Joe says, Joe is here. So whenever the Jesus character talked about the Son of Man, he talked like Joe King talks. I think that's very, very interesting. Let me give you just a couple of examples, and I guess I could show these to you. Might as well show them to you, because some of you, I know you have a hard time trusting, but only me. You'll trust some girl that's been saying that a comet's going to hit for about 5 years now, and it still hasn't hit, but you'll trust what she says and get mad at me for pointing out that she lies to you all the time, but you don't want to trust me, and that's okay. I get it. I get it, because I hold myself to a higher standard of accountability than she does. And I know that there's guys that you worship and follow that can put up fake pictures, swear they took the picture, and it's a fake picture. It's not them. They never took it. It's from a place hundreds of miles away and years before, but that's okay because you like them and they make you feel good and you don't care. But if Jeff ever put up something that was wrong, if Jeff ever used a fake picture, you would hate Jeff. See what I did there a little bit? Joking, Jesus character. If Jeff ever made a prediction that didn't come true, you wouldn't listen to Jeff anymore. But I understand that Jeff is held to a higher standard. Jeff understands that Jeff is held to a higher standard, and we'll quit that now, and we'll just move into the text, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. In Matthew 24:42, that'll give us a good example of it. Matthew 24:42. Let me get that ready for you. Matthew 24:22. Where is it? Boom, there it is. Let me get it in the place where you all can see it. Matthew 24:22. Are you ready? Matthew 24:22. Jesus, the Jesus character talks Joe King style if he was the Son of Man. And that's not the right verse. I hate it when I do that. Oh, it's 24:42 through 44. 24:42 through 44. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, I've been fasting today and I'm not at my usual peak of efficiency, but you know, even where I'm at is pretty doggone high. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Don't try this at home, but I got it. Don't worry. Watch therefore. And remember, this is the Jesus character speaking. Now, if he was the Lord, for him to say, watch therefore, for you don't know what hour your Lord shall come, that's like Joe King. You don't know what hour Joe King's going to come when Joe King's saying it. But know this, if the goodman of the house had known and what watch the thief would come, he would have watched. He would have suffered his house not to be broken into. Therefore, also be ready, for it's an hour as such you think not that Joe King comes. The Son of Man comes. Now, if you're really the Son of Man and you're saying you don't know when the Son of Man comes, no offense, Joe, but it's a little odd. If you're really the Lord and you keep saying you don't know when you know not what hour your Lord comes, that's a little odd. But a lot of you believe that, and that's okay. But that's the way Jesus, the Jesus character, talked about the Son of Man. He talked about the Son of Man in the third person. Now, was it because he was just talking in the third person like Joe King, or was it because he wasn't the Son of Man? I'll give you one more example before we move on. Here it is, Matthew 25:13. Watch therefore, says the Son of Man, for you don't know the day or the hour when the Son of Man cometh. Joe King says, watch therefore, for you don't know the day nor the hour wherein Joe King comes. And that's true of Joe King too, because you never know when Joe King's going to show up. And I'm not joking, nor am I Joe King. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, why did the Jesus character talk about the Son of Man, talk about the Lord in the third person? Why? I find that very, very interesting. I find that very, very interesting. And I believe it's because it was written in the Gospels that way, because it's not the Son of Man. The Jesus character is not the Son of Man. The Jesus character is not the Lord. Titus Flavius was the Son of Man. Titus Flavius was the Lord. And that's the way Josephus wrote it. And that's the way it makes perfect sense to understand it. And as we continue to go through this in the next weeks and months, it'll become more and more clear, more and more plain, and you'll be able to understand it even more easily, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pop on over into the chat room and let's see what our esteemed guests have to say. Joe King right on top talking about the P1000. Great camera. I haven't really got into it yet. I've been doing lots and lots of study, reading about this study, the New Testament, reading about the history study, and also reading about, and you're not going to believe this one, I can't wait to bring this out. So I'm asking to myself, I'm saying, Jeff, not like Joe King or like the Jesus character, and I know Tracy's getting tired of that, so I tried to say it at least one more time because I knew that she was getting tired of it. But I asked myself, I won't do it, Tracy. I asked myself, Rome wrote the New Testament. Well, Rome wrote the Gospels. I'm sure of that. Rome wrote the Gospels. And yet, the Gospels contain unmistakable UFO, ET, and alien imagery. And I'm thinking, why did Rome write that UFO, alien, ET imagery into the New Testament, into the Gospels? And I said to myself, let's look at the history of ancient Rome and see how much UFO, ET, alien activity they faced. You will not believe the empirical objective proof that I am about to bring to you, probably start tomorrow. There was so much UFO, ET, alien activity in ancient Rome that many people, including the Romans themselves, believed that Rome was probably settled by, helped in its settling by UFOs, alien races, and that their technology, the arch, their concrete that we still can't or copy, was given to them by extraterrestrials. I know I sound like Giorgio right now, but the facts, the written history of the Romans, it will boggle your mind when I show you that. So as I understand and see, this is how you study. Well, Nanya makes a bunch of charts and they're stupid word charts. They're not that hard to make. If she spent more time actually studying and reading than making her damn charts, then she wouldn't look so stupid and you wouldn't look so stupid. I shouldn't call her stupid because she's got you guys following her and paying her. But the point of the matter is that real study is, why did Rome have so much ET writing? It's not to watch some YouTube videos about it. It's to actually get into history of ancient Rome and see how much, if any, UFO activity there is there. And then all of a sudden you realize, wow. And when you understand ancient Roman history, it's not a surprise that documents they wrote would contain UFO imagery. If someone told you that Rome wrote documents and there was no UFO imagery in it, you have to say, I don't know. Rome was all about UFOs. Rome was all about ETs. Rome was all about extraterrestrials. They talked about it. They wrote about it. It was a part of their daily life. So it makes perfect sense. And I know that some of you, and I'm not talking to the 40,000 subscribers to this channel, and I wish that you would subscribe. And I wish that you would make sure that you are subscribed because you do get dropped. And I do also wish, ladies and gentlemen, that in addition to the your consideration of Mistech, the holidays are coming up, 30% off now on Mistech, not your normal 20, 30% off. So find but only if your first email gives me the size, the color, and the correct shipping address, 30% off. The Fluffy, also great gift. But also, I want you to consider, ladies and gentlemen, and think about it because it makes a big difference in your life. What am I thinking about? What am I thinking about? I completely lost my train of thought. But stocking stuffers, you couldn't get any better than Hero Soap. It would be a great addition to any stocking. Could you imagine if you put like the forest scented stocking or soap into a stocking, and they would smell like the Christmas tree, and it would be holiday frivolity all over. So go to jeffreydaugherty.com, click on, ladies and gentlemen, the fluffy, or excuse me, um, the Hero Soap logo, Let Freedom Clean, and get your Hero Soap. It's a great time to do it. If you want some of these Swanwick glasses, they're on sale. If you buy 2 pairs, you get 20% off. There's a Swanwick logo on the site as well. But ladies and gentlemen, I know that you get some peace. I know that you get some good feeling, and I know you get some, Holy Ghost chill bumps by listening to a moving oration by a dude, or a moving oration by a dudette, and you say, "Oh, I like them. They're so nice, and they sound so nice, and what they say sounds so nice. I believe it." I know that makes you feel good, but what makes you feel even better is when you get into a book and you research yourself. You're researching, you're reading, you're writing, you're studying, and you find truth, and you're like, "Ooh, I know that's real because I found it. I wrote it. I discovered it." You know it's real, and it's so powerful to you as an individual, and it's so empowering to you as an individual. And that's why I really want you to do yourself a favor and learn how to learn. Learn how to study, because I don't care who they are. Men will fail you, women will fail you. And some of those ones I've mentioned, sooner rather than later. Sooner rather than later. And then what are you going to do? When this person you put all this trust in, this person that you've based a lot of your beliefs and doctrines on, is proven false, then what do? You've got a crisis. But if you know what you know because you discovered it and you found it, nothing can shake you. That's what I want for you. Certainty, security. Because if you're going to act divine, act sovereign, if first you got to know you're divine. And if someone tells you you're divine, you kind of believe it. If you study it out and see it, you know you're divine. And when you know you're divine, you will act sovereign. If you're just been told you're divine, it's hard for you to really act sovereign because you're not, it's a part of you, not quite sure. But if you know you're divine, you will act sovereign. And by acting sovereign, that's the way you gain freedom, by acting sovereign. You can talk about freedom all day long, but until you act with sovereignty, you're not free. And some of you are so afraid of losing the approval of your guru, of your favorite YouTube teacher, of your favorite preacher, you won't do anything or say anything or go anywhere or be anything that they don't approve of because you're afraid of losing their approval. Why? Because you're not divine, you're not sovereign, you're not free, you're in a fear and guilt, blood magic control matrix. It might be a gilded cage, but it's still a cage. And if you're afraid, and if your biggest worry is losing the approval or the fear or the friendship of some guru or some leader, you are just waiting for a crash. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I remember when Jimmy Swaggart fell. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about. That's why we do what we do. Lisa wants to know if I can see entities with the P1000. That's going to be interesting. That's really going to be interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, begin the drinking game. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about that. You could put chapstick on a pig. JC Guzman heard me on Tinfoil Hat. Loyal to the foil, love some Sam. Keep hanging out with Sam. He's a good dude. Aaron Cleary says, do you have a video explaining how Jesus is Rome's invention? Brah, really? Go look on the channel. In the first 2 or 3 pages of that channel, you probably can't throw a piece of gum at the screen and have it stick on a video that's not about Jesus being Rome's inventions. Scotty Boy needs his pictures. That's why I have them up there. Runaway Train likes visuals. A lot of us do. We absolutely do. Jeffrey Daugherty and the Christian Whistleblower should be a band. I don't think you want me in a band. I really don't think you want me in a band. Geo Hawk says, research it. You'll see that Jesus was invented by the Romans. Absolutely. The whistling Christian blower has it down pat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Tyler. Let's see. Yeah, Atwell did say the Bible's a dark comedy, and it really is. We're showing you. We're going to continue to show you. Let's see what else we got. Two lies don't make it a truth. That's for sure, Tracy. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but it's absolutely true. Milk apples. This is interesting. Christian believes probably cost me about $2 million in his life, but he's recovered okay, still hurts a bit. Jeff helped me get my head out of my rear. Wow, milk apples. I'm very, very happy to hear that. I'm trying to think how much money they cost me. They cost me some money, so I gave a lot of it away. But then again, that 20 years as an evangelist, I made a lot of it. So I probably have come out on the good end of that. I think of some of my friends. I got a friend who's worth a lot of money, and I shudder to think how much money he's given to churches. He could have given it to me, helped a brother out. Yeah, well, good for you, milk apples. You're here. I'm glad that you're here. There's probably several of us, says Cynthia. Cynthia has dropped some coin in the church house too. She really has. And yeah, but sometimes things that aren't really super cheap are really super important and can be super dramatic in your life. Take, for instance, C60 Purple Power. No, it's not super expensive, but it's not super cheap. I've been taking this for a couple of months, and it has literally made a noticeable change in my life, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. You can go to c60purplepower.com, use the code TCW or the Christian Whistleblower 10, TCW10, get 10% off. The best antioxidant on the planet. It helps your cells maximize themselves at a mitochondria level. The mitochondria is the thing that's in your cell that makes your cell go. It's the engine of your cell. It cleans the sludge out of the engine of your cell. And boy, when your cells are going and you got the Mistec, the Fluffy, Jeff, why do you support these products? Well, think about it. C60, Mistec, Fluffy, that all flows together, ladies and gentlemen. That all flows together. That help maximizes you. And then the Freedom Soap makes you smell good while you're maximized, because who wants to be maximized and optimized and still stink? That's no bueno. We want you rocking and rolling and smelling good while you're doing it. That's what it's all about. I'm here. I'm a holistic unindoctrinator. I think you should be holistically unindoctrinated, and that includes your stinkiness. No need to be stinky, ladies and gentlemen, when you're being unindoctrinated. So what else we got? Didn't Josephus become Flava Flav? That's funny. Jeffrey works on these for hours every day. He does. Jeff, you need to do a stand-up laughing at how the Romans got us, then others took suit, then throw a Shakespeare into that. I'm reading right now Shakespeare's Secret Messiah. Blows your mind. You're not going to believe it, ladies and gentlemen. You are not going to believe it, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know, I'll give you a preview. We learned that the word gospel, the good news, the gospel, that word was a word from the Imperial Roman cult. It wasn't a real word. It was a word from the Imperial Roman cult that had to do with good news of the military victories of Caesar. That's what it is. But yet here's these Christians, these Nanyas and these idiots that are so insignificant that their names aren't worth mentioning anymore. They're preaching the gospel. They don't even know that they're proclaiming their love for Caesar. What is more stupid, to say you love Caesar and worship Caesar, or to worship Caesar and love Caesar and not even know you're doing it? But I'm the bad guy for pointing it out to you. So not only is the word gospel from the Roman imperial cult, but the word parakletos, Holy Spirit called alongside to help, from the Roman imperial cult. Boom. How do you like me now, my Pentecostal friends? Oh, I received it from the Holy Spirit. Yeah, you did, but you don't think it's like you did, dummy. And I shouldn't say dummy, because you're not a dummy until you know it and continue to do it. Then you're a dummy. So I retract the dummy on that until you continue to do and talk this Holy Spirit stuff when you know that it's a Roman imperial word, and this gospel stuff when you know it's a Roman imperial word. Wow. Ryan needs to go to Walmeasy. Some of you might not know that as Walmeazow, Walmart. My copy, Lucky Stone, says if Caesar's Messiah is coming tomorrow, oh, you will love the book. You won't be able to put it down. The military campaigns of the day coincide with Jesus, the Jesus character, 100%. He looks eccentric. Who, me or this guy? Let's see what else we got. He looks constipated. Not me. I'm regular. And since I got the C60, double regular. And I mean productive regular too, not loose, but boom. So I know that I'm eating less since I got the C60, but I'm eliminating more. So I add that together and I say that there's stuff that was in me that needed to be out of me. And now it is C60 pooper power. It's called purple power, C60 purple power.com, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Milk and apples. Boom. Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. In the middle of every belief is a lie. Think about it. Think about it. Milk Apple says, I helped him get his life back. And I'll accept that. I helped you get your life back. I didn't give you your life back. I didn't teach you anything. I didn't make a change in your life. You made the changes to your life. I'm the mailman. I bring you the letter. Like, here's a package for you. Now you could take that package and throw it on the ground and use it to set your beer on, and it's not going to do you any benefit. But if you open the package and you read, I bring you to water, but you got to drink. I bring you to impartial information, but you got to think. It isn't me that does it. It's you that does it. If I die tomorrow, if Nine Nanya's comment that she's been talking about for 10 years actually came tomorrow and fell on my head and killed me, if you're listening to me, it wouldn't matter, because you know what you know, because you discovered it. If I tell you something and you believe it because I say, that's not good enough. You've got to believe it because that light bulb went off in your mind. Bing. I get it. That's what I'm talking about. And Spirit Girl SF, I promise you, I will never do the wrecking ball naked. I don't know what the wrecking ball is, but I'm pretty sure that's something that I wouldn't do naked. Brian Dressel, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you very much. This is the goodness. Thank you, Artie. I appreciate it. Let's see what else we got. Josephus became a turncoat to stay alive. Yeah, of course he did. Karma Case, thank you so much for accepting the knowledge that I share. Jeff's tough love is the best, especially yes at me, but great topic tonight. Jeff, you're a badass, but in a namaste kind of way. In a namaste kind of way. What else we got? Bible babbling, Jerry Smith. I like that. Hey, Jeff, how do we know Jesus is Rome's invention? I'm going to pretend like I didn't see that, because I'm not going to allow myself to be triggered. Serenity now. Serenity now. Serenity. Now, I wonder if Josephus needed a neck adjustment. He might have. He might have. Yeah, look for the videos with Joseph Atwell in the title. That's probably a better way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what else we got. Atwell threatened to write a new book in Shakespeare's Messiah, but I don't think he's going to do it because, I mean, he wrote 2 great books. I think he's running out of steam. I'll ask him that the next time that we talk, if he's going to write that 3rd book. Okay, what else we got? What else we got? My grandson talks in the 3rd person, says Lisa. That's got to be funny to say, to hear. Hey, Grandma, Joey wants a cookie, bitch. I don't think he adds that part in there, but could you imagine that? Hey, Grandma, Joey doesn't like pizza. He mentioned a little kid. Joey, go to bed. Joey's not tired. Oh, I would pay to watch that. That's a great YouTube video right there. It's turning into a Seinfeld episode. It can do that. It can do that. It can do that. I listened to your last 3 uploads today while roaming the hood. Street King's out there protecting us. We salute you, Street King, for your service to our communities. I'm digging your segue into your promoting products. That's good art. Thank you. I learned that from Chris Jericho. I swear to you. I learned that from Chris Jericho, listening to Chris, and then I got interviewed by Chris. I'm like, bro, you do so good into your, he goes, it's just a gift. You got it. So do it. And I said, okay, I'm on it. So yeah, Chris Jericho, the best in the world at what he does. Chris Jericho, Le Champion. And of course, me, the only one in the world that does what I do, and Le Champion of biblical interpretation and spiritual exhortation. No, I don't. Macabre Menace. He might, but I don't. Jeff, do you know of David Vos? I've heard the name, but I don't know. And like Tracy says, reincarnated Christs are a dime a dozen. Absolutely. David Vos has his moments, but he's still way into the Christian blood matrix. I don't got any room for blood. I don't got any room for blood. Let's see. Maybe he's related to Bob Dole. Oh, that's the Bob Dole wouldn't stand for that. Yeah, I remember Bob Dole. I'm actually in Kansas now, which is Bob Dole territory, ladies and gentlemen. The chat skipped on me. We may not get through all of this chat because there's a lot of it, and we are almost out of time. We are almost out of time. I'm going to have a guy on the show named Tim Kelly. He's almost got Giorgio hair. Tim Kelly's got a Giorgio starter set. And Tim is a guy that talks about the medicines. I know that I'm not with the medicines, but I'm listening, I'm understanding, and I'm offering some alternatives. And I think it's at least worth investigating. So we will have Tim King. I can't remember where he's from, but he's going to come on and talk about a couple of different medicines and talking about using psychedelics to accentuate or help your spirituality. I'm not saying that I agree with it, but I'm no longer saying I don't agree with it. I'm just saying I'm very, very skeptical. I'm very, very slow to adopt it. And I'm very, very careful. Chapstick is on it. They did call them flying shields in Rome. So he will be coming in, and Tim and I share something. I spoke, or was supposed to speak, before the guys with the automatic rifles showed up at the first fiasco in the desert. And Tim spoke at the last fiasco in the desert, which ended up about as well for him as the first one did for me, except Tim didn't get any automatic weapons pointed at him. But I told him probably some handguns he didn't know about. But anyway, we won't be talking about that. We'll be talking about the medicines and talking about ways to get yourself, if you're facing a life of addiction, if you're facing a life of depression, there's some of these medicines that'll help you get off everything from heroin to depression. So it's worth talking about. It's worth discovering. It's worth looking at. So we'll be bringing Tim Kelly on pretty soon as we can work it out. I believe he's down in Mexico. Runaway Train used to follow 9 Nunya, but woke up and saw through her fear-mongering bullshit. I think she just might be crazy. Maybe she just might be crazy. But anyway, what do we got? Ordering pizza. What else we got? Is Fluffy only a phone app? No, that also goes to your home. I don't think they can send it to a laptop. I think it's got to be to a phone or to your home. Let's see. What else we got? Trying to get through this. Delaney in the hizzow. What's up, girl? Go on with your bad self. Dory loved the show with Carrie Cassidy. Nice to see you, Dory. If you see Jeanette, give her one of these for me, a boom, and make sure you go pow, because that girl is moving out and acting in some sovereignty. I'm proud of her. She's divine, she's sovereign, she's free, she's locked, and she's loaded. I know that you two are close. If you see her, give her some dap, because it's good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And nice to see you, Dory. And let's see what else we got. Jeff in a band would be badass, except I can't play even the radio and I can't sing. So Cynthia wants her 10% back. I'm like, what did I take of hers? I think she's talking about church. Jeff doesn't teach me. He confirms what I taught myself. Boom, shakalaka, boom. I love it. I love it. This all makes so much sense, says Cynthia. I paid her to say that, but that's okay. G. Smith, Wayne, and Jeff have a show Sunday at 8 a.m. We do. That's freaking early, but we do. What else? Grocery shopping with Jeff playing out loud. Jesus isn't real at Christmas time. We're trying to get Tracy to come on the air, but doesn't want to. But guess who does want to come on the air? Cynthia L. wants to come on the show. But I told her she's got to have a take and can't suck. So we're figuring out where her what's that called? Where she can hit it out of the park. And we're going to get her on here before too long, folks. That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to get through all this chat. I wonder why Nanya's never shown her face. Maybe she is a dude. I don't think so. Well, it's possible. Anything's possible. But my, you know what? Let's since we're researchers here. Is Nanya a dude? No, she's not a dude. So we won't start that rumor. Somebody wants me to ask, is Nanya transgendered? No, I'm not going to ask that. And they cannot ask you questions about me. Lisa Gallant says Tracy and Cynthia should do a show together. I don't know if I would allow that. That sounds like a mutiny to me. No, that would be fun. I would just sit back and watch. That would be enjoyable. So one of these days, Cynthia, Jeff might reconsider him letting you on the show. Cynthia, Jeff might reconsider. Oh, if I kept answering questions, she kept answering questions about me. I got it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are looking forward to a lot of great stuff coming up. Allow, she says. Ooh, yeah, I said it. I'm right here. Anyway, folks, great stuff. Typology, the making of the Gospels. We'll talk more about this. We're going to talk more about history and time. We're going to talk more about UFOs and ETs in Rome. We're going to talk more about how Rome created the Gospels, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to look at who created the rest of the New Testament. And if they're still in charge, and now that we know, what do we do about it? These are some exciting times. I don't know that I've ever been as excited to be alive as I am now. And AQ says, listening to Jeff makes my amygdala grow. In a namaste kind of way. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We're here to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru. You do not have original sin. You've got the spark of divinity within. You're divine. You're sovereign. You're free. And there has never been a better time than right now for you, with a little help from your friends, to unindoctrinate yourself.